Welcome, 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 everybody. We're gonna do Idaho versus Daybell, day 14. So I'm gonna get ready to present it, share the screen, and see what happens today. So bear with me while I do this, people. I'm still new to this.
18 or North Howard of Austin, Valley Driver 0 point, signal 80.
I hope everything okay. So it's supposed to start at 10:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So like I say, I'm trying my best to make your old people happy. So remember, people, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel while we're waiting on the court to come live. But I want to thank all your subscribers out there. We new people to YouTube. We appreciate your all's help. I can't thank you. We cannot thank you a lot that subscribe to our channel. Even you old timers. I'm not talking about people my age. The one that's been on YouTube for a while. You remember when you all started out, you had to find out what content that you need to get the subscribers. So I'm asking you all out there to help us new YouTubers, to help us get to our 1,000 subscribers, help us to get our 4,000 watch hours. So, you know, we was like you at one time. Didn't know what we was doing. On my channel, I always request you keep your comments PG. There's kids in there with their parents or guardian watching YouTube. Just remember, don't use those bad words. I know some other YouTubes use them, like FW and a few other people. They got hate, know, they hate people or the member of a cult. You know, if that's what you want to watch, it's your right. But when people cusses all the time, true facts. I watch people that does the true facts. The other one just, cut out the important parts and let you all think, the person's lying. I got videos. I got copy, videos where a person was in court. And people's cutting out certain parts first time, had somebody else taking his plea bargain, probation stuff like that. Which the true videos that's on edit shows the truth, which had been on other people's YouTube channels. You know, so just like this case, You know, Chad Daybell. Listen to all the evidence before you make your judgment. If you got the reasonable doubt that he or she didn't do it, then that means not guilty. Okay, yesterday I shared Reed's trial, and what they showed so far to me, I know it's early in the trial, but the cops screwed up in Karen Reed's tri- investigation. They found that dead body in this, I believe it was a policeman's yard. And the victim only had one shoe. What happened to the other shoe? Why didn't the police get a search warrant to go in this police officer's house where the dead body was? And since he was a policeman and a first responder, and all those police cars and all that traffic, why didn't he come out of the house? You know, listen to all the evidence. I believe she was set up because she used to date him at the time. You all know, you've been around people. Everybody reacts different to a person's death, or they block stuff out. As you heard yesterday in Karen Reed, that the paramedic said, she said, I killed him. But those police officers was there. They said they never heard that because that paramedic in his mind dreamed it. Plus, you go back to the firehouse. You got to make your report out. Your EMTs, your paramedics, they all got to make their own reports out. You know, why didn't he put that in his report? You know, that's only my opinion, people. So, you know, just listen to all the evidence in any court cases that I bring you or any other people. Because some of the other people that has it on their YouTube channels is lawyers. They know what they doing. They give their point of view as a lawyer, like MG Law, the umbrella guy, Megan Fox, the writer, not the actor, the DUI guy. Some people don't like the DUI guy, but you know, people, you can go on the internet and find anybody's address, phone number. It don't take a dummy. You all smart people out there on YouTube. You know, if you own property, say John Doe lives in Henryville, Indiana. That's the closest town to me. And you look up John Doe property in Henryville, Indiana, and it pops up. It's public records. And you're going to find the person's address. It's public record, people. I know that one YouTuber gripes about that, but you know, if you run the business, say in Indiana, I don't know how it is in other states, you have to be licensed in that state for a business. And you can find anybody's cell phone number. You seen it in the ads, or you can research it online. Phone number. It's public record. who the electric company is for that address. Everything's public information. This guy on the YouTube, I like him because him and his girlfriend done quite a bit for the area of bringing corruption. But you don't have to lie in your YouTube videos. And, you know, that's how it is, people. Everything's public records on your taxes on your house. You can go to a government website and you can find out how much the person's website is. Or you can go to a real estate site on the internet and you can find out the houses it's for sale in the area, like Meade County, Kentucky. I'm just throwing that in. You can find out whose property for sale in Meade County, Kentucky, or Alabama, or any place. You can find out that information. It's public. And, you know, that's funny. Some of those FW and JJ, you know, it's public record, people. And when you got hate groups out there, if that's your thing, it's okay. But I was raised not to hate people, no matter if it's black, white, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese. That's not how I was raised. But here's the secret to it all: we all bleed red. Hello, my
This is Indiana's time. And Mike Braun is Indiana's conservative leader.
we're
Who's
getting
yours, Bar?
ready. It looks like Chad Bell,
And Mike Braun.
Chad Bell's hearing, and day 14, I believe. So, so I want you all stand by. You know how it is. You know. So I want to thank all of y'all. I hope this helped me out on subscribers. And I know I'm talking, but court, as you all know, if you ever been to court on a ticket or a divorce or anything like that, they never do start at 9 a.m. They might not start until 9:30, 10 o'clock. Why is it? I can't answer that. Only lawyers and judges can answer it. I go to court, watch court cases, supposed to start at 9 o'clock. It never gets started, or 8:30. I don't know the question to it. I want you all to hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe bell. Make sure when you hit that bell, you get all notifications on anybody's YouTube channel. And you like I ask you to give me ideas what to talk about. I know you all get tired of hearing my ugly voice or my ugly mugshot, you know. And people who starting a YouTube channel, and you can talk about anything that I express. You can talk about anything. Talk about your family medical history, heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure, sugar, stuff like that. Because if you got kids or grandkids, they want to know the family history. Because I'll let you know, I'm adopted. I didn't know my family history until the 70s. That's when I found out high blood pressure and heart attack and stroke between the age of 60 and 65 on my dad's side. Everybody in that age range passed away because they had a heart attack, stroke. To me, it's the same thing, but I'm not a doctor. So you can go on the internet and find out what's the systems of a heart attack or a stroke. Sometimes you might eat something it don't agree with you. Chest pains and pains in your arm. And some people don't go to the hospital because, oh, that's enough. People, heart attack and stroke is not nothing to mess with. So anytime you get a chest pain or in your arm, like I say, look it up on the internet. You know what to look for. You can eat something that won't agree with you, cause you chest pains and arms. My advice and my experience is to go to the hospital. You don't never know. Also, I said about medical history by you and your mate what you look like, where your children and grandkids won't forget it. And your older people, you heard me mention that before, that how to can your food out of your garden. Corn, tomatoes, beets. Teach us younger people how to do it. See, that could be something. I know there's cooking, but you might got a special meal that you and your family like. Every time I see shows like that on YouTube or TV, it makes me hungry. You know, that's something you have to think about. I gave you some ideas. You don't have to use them, but don't give up on can get over 1,000 subscribers on one video. Just don't give up. There have been times I want to give up. Okay, I want to thank Triumph's Beware. That's TB, short for the boss, but he's not the boss when his wife's there. You all men know how it is. That's another thing, man. Ask them old timers out there. Have been married over 20 plus years. Ask them how they made it that far. Because the younger people, it might go 5 years, 1 year, 10 years, then they decide to get a divorce. As me being 70 plus years old on a fixed income of $800, $800 to $900 on a month, you have to make your budget and you live on that budget. You got house payments, rent, and so on. You got to live on the budget. If you need something real bad, does that fit into your budget? I had somebody, but I know this kid was there with their parents because you saw him in the background. He typed up, "What's a budget?" He didn't know that. Don't they teach that stuff in elementary school, junior high, high school? Don't they teach that stuff anymore? I say they don't. I remember when I was in elementary school, we had a big stand with a TV, black and white TV on it, We watch PBS, Public Broadcast Service, or whatever it's called. You all know what I'm talking about. We learned Spanish from watching PBS back in the 50s and 60s. I don't think they have PBS in elementary schools anymore. And to your kids out there that be watching it later with your parents, if you're straight A students, I'm asking you all to help your underclassmen. It's not making it too good. I know when junior high, high school, the teachers didn't really explain it. But as a child, you're at that person. So your kids out there that's in school and watches later, help them kids underneath you. Some of their makes the same amount of money as your father and mother. So I'm asking your kids to do that to help you underclassmen kids that's in your class, male or female kids. Because one day that person will be a VIP, very important person. That person will not forget. Why is the court taking so long? You know, I don't, you all know how courts is. Hit the subscribe bell and you see in my chat, my Taz, Jan, and Crap. Go to their channel, subscribe to their channel, hit the bell, and make sure you get all notifications. You help them out, and like me, you subscribe to my channel, then I go to your channel, subscribe to your channel. Because I'm helping you out just like you help me out. I don't get nothing from YouTube until I get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And I'm using StreamYard. It's not an app. You type StreamYard into your search engine. Then you come down there and find StreamYard. You click on it. Then you add YouTube or TikTok or Facebook or whatever. You add that into it. Then it takes you through the steps. It looked like they're getting ready on court TV, circling around. Help you all to help people out. So by you subscribing to other people's channels and them subscribing to your channels, there is people out there will help you. Like the expert, I love to get on his channel. That way I could pick up more subscribers, more watch hours. And the same thing on the umbrella guy. Megan Fox, the writer, the actor, MG Law. They can help us out too if they would. To YouTube, they had to come up with things where they get subscribers. Us little people like me, I'm 70 plus years old up here. I just added a high to every, high. And I don't know what the problem is with the court. It could be the internet, it could be anything out there. Thank you for the thumbs up. You're a very sweet person. It's showing it's live on Court TV, but what's the problem here? Oh, something's not right here, people. Don't ask me what.
Or 22.
Okay, I'm going to present it again.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, here we went, people. Sorry, I don't know.
Okay, now that the witness has been
Oh,
sworn,
the
before we commence with
StreamYard
testimony, I just want
internet. I'm saying it's the internet. So I'm so sorry.
because this case has been live streamed on the court's official channel as well as other news media outlets and open to the public. So, Dr. Christensen, there's an exclusionary order preventing witnesses from observing other trial testimony. Have you at all watched or observed any of the trial testimony since the case began?
No,
Okay. Have you discussed with anyone else the testimony they've given at trial?
no.
Okay. Thank you for affirming that. With that, Ms. Blake, you can inquire, and I will note with this particular witness, if we are getting into any kind of medical terms and testimony, please bear in mind that our court reporter is taking a record of everything said. So please speak slow enough that she can keep up, and she can go very fast, but sometimes it's tough with medical terminology. So Ms. Blake, if you'd like to inquire, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Yes, Eric Christensen again.
Are you currently employed?
I'm currently self-employed.
What position, did you recently retire from a position?
Yes, I retired on April 1st as the chief medical examiner for the state of Utah.
How long had you held that position as a chief medical examiner?
I'd been in that position since 2016 and I've been in the office there since 2008.
Prior to working there in Utah, had you worked at other medical examiners' offices?
Yes, I trained in forensic pathology in 2000 to 2001 and then was employed in that office for a year. Then I worked in South Carolina at the Greenville County Medical Examiner's Office for 6 years before moving to Utah.
And what education do you have in order to be a forensic pathologist?
I have an undergraduate degree in philosophy from Brigham Young University. I have a medical degree from the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia. And then I completed internship training in pediatrics at Walter Reed Army Medical Center, and then did 4 years of anatomic and clinical pathology training at Madigan Army Medical Center. And then after leaving the Army, completed a 1-year fellowship training program in forensic pathology at the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner in Richmond, Virginia.
Can you explain a little bit about what a pathologist is?
Sure. Pathology is a specialty of medicine, just like surgery or internal medicine or pediatrics. And it is primarily aimed at the diagnosis of diseases, disease conditions, abnormalities of the body by evaluation of fluids, cell samples, tissue samples, and in some cases, autopsy samples as well.
Here's our President County for Your Honor.
Thank you. Please be seated.
His fingerprints could be found. Now, who did this? Deputy DA Lauren Richmond, of course. Can you substantiate this?
All right, good morning, everyone. We are back on the record on case CR 22-21-1623, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. We're continuing with evidence in the state's case in chief. The state has witnesses call today. The court will note that the jurors are all present and accounted for, properly seated. The court has received the juror affirmation from all 18 jurors. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, for continuing to follow the court's instruction each day when we break. At this time, then, I understand the state as its next witness to call. Who's going to be examining the witness?
I will be, Your Honor. The state will call Dr. Eric Christensen.
All right, you can go ahead and call your witness. I'll note also the defendant is present with counsel, so Dr. Christensen can be sworn once he arrives in the courtroom.
And he is headed up.
Thank you.
That night, you replaced Ellis's gun to the glove compartment. Ellis.
I'll just note one other quick thing on the record too. I did have a sidebar with counsel this morning, just in terms of scheduling and planning. That was discussed off the record in terms of proposals for timing of witnesses and wrapping up the state's case in chief as well, and when that may occur. So thank you for the information, counsel.
I ask the court's permission to speak. In view of the behavior of my associate, Ms. Richardson, I am replacing her as of now, if it pleases the court.
Ms. Richmond, as you well know, obstruction of justice is a criminal offense. You have jeopardized your entire career. Have you anything to say?
Promise, swear, or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right, thank you. You can be seated here.
I was just so tired of seeing guilty men go free. There was so much real evidence against Alice Blake. I was certain he was guilty. I know I'm wrong. I thought it was for
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Richmond, I am ordering all the evidence against you forwarded to the proper authorities for further investigation.
Your Honor. The state would like to join with the defense in asking for a judgment notwithstanding.
Okay, now that the witness has been sworn, before we commence with testimony, I just want to inquire, because this case has been live streamed on the
I
court's
want to thank you
official
all.
channel, as well as other news media outlets, and open to the public. So Dr. Christensen,
I hope
there's an exclusionary order preventing witnesses from observing other trial testimony. Have you at all watched or observed any of the trial testimony since the case began?
No,
Okay, have you discussed with anyone else the testimony they've given at trial?
no.
that is
Okay, thank you for affirming that. With that,
for you to
Ms. Blake, you can inquire, and I will note with this particular witness,
thank you all
if we are getting into any kind of
who's watching.
medical terms and testimony, please bear in mind that our court reporter is taking a record of everything said, so please speak slow enough that she can keep up, and she can go very fast, but
Nope.
sometimes it's tough with medical terminology. So Ms. Blake, if you'd like to inquire, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name and
Last name CH.
are you currently employed?
I'm currently self-employed.
What position, did you recently retire from a position?
Yes, I retired on April 1st as the chief medical examiner for the state of Utah.
How long had you held that position as a chief medical examiner?
I'd been in that position since 2016, and I've been in the office there since 2008.
Oh,
Prior to working there in Utah, had you worked at other medical examiners' offices?
Yes, I trained in forensic pathology in 2000 to 2000.
YouTube or court TV screwed up.
in addition to just performing the autopsy?
Yes. So a forensic autopsy
I'm so
differs.
sorry about that, people. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the internet, my computer. Maybe I don't have the right graphics card in this laptop. That's how come I done a video on a laptop computer, which I cannot afford. It's not in my budget. Okay, let's get back to it. Remember, all people is innocent until proven guilty. Listen to all the facts. The police, the prosecutor, the defense team. You know, if you have your doubts, you know, reasonable doubts, you can say not guilty. But listen to all the facts. God bless you all. Hit the thumbs up, share it, hit the subscribe bell. God bless you all.
From a, for example, a hospital-based autopsy where the primary, evaluation is aimed at determining what natural disease processes may be present and why the person died from a, mostly medical or physiological standpoint. In a forensic autopsy, we are very interested in evidence as well. And a lot of what we are interested in during an autopsy is what's present on the outside of the body. And so we will spend a lot of time, evaluating the external surfaces of the body before we delve much into the internal parts. But aside from the exam parts of it, the other big difference is that we spend a lot of time reviewing records, statements, police reports, other things that will provide us information of the context of that person's death. So just as when you go to your doctor, you don't just walk in and sit down and he examines you and then tells you what you need. There's a discussion that happens in that context where you relay to your doctor what you've been feeling, what's made it better, what's made it worse, what you've tried that's helped or not helped, and those kinds of things, how long the symptoms have been going on. Obviously, we cannot speak to our patients, but we gather that same type of information about the events leading to that person's death by looking at their medical history, looking at statements from people who knew them and things of that nature.
And some records to review.
Yes, we did.
Did you speak with individuals already involved in the investigation?
Yes.
And did you do some of that work prior to performing the actual autopsy?
Yes, and that's a fairly typical thing to happen in the setting of an exhumation. Because an exhumation is a scheduled event, we have the ability to spend a little time to gather what information is available and readily obtainable before we do the exam. So if there are things we should focus on, we can do that. So we had initially, I think in this case, some information from office. We had some information from the Fremont County Sheriff's Office and a few other items.
In your experience, are exhumations very common?
No.
Have you been involved in autopsies on someone that's been exhumed before Tammy's?
Yes, many times. The first exhumation case I was involved in was 1998.
And when you're conducting an autopsy on someone that's exhumed, differ greatly from how you conduct an autopsy on someone that was not exhumed?
It really depends on their level of preservation. How well the person was embalmed, how long they had been interred, how the condition of the grave, as I'd mentioned, the waterlogged grave would substantially degrade the condition of the body. All of those things play into what kind of condition the body is in. In forensic pathology, we get fairly accustomed to examining embalmed bodies because frequently people are sent to the funeral home before somebody realized they needed to report the death to us. And so they get embalmed right away, and then they find out, oh, we needed to see them. So they come over and we perform an autopsy on that embalmed person. But uh, for someone that's been interred, both embalmed and not embalmed, I've seen people that are around for over 25 years. And the conditions really vary widely depending on that variety of factors that I talked about: the condition of the grave, the quality of the embalming, and the I guess those are probably the two main things that make a difference there.
And when you performed or when you were part of the autopsy, was someone else involved in performing the autopsy with you?
Yes. At the time, we had trained people to be forensic pathologists in our office, and at that time, our trainee was Dr. Lily Marsden. She had already she was nearing the end of her training year, and she also had already received training and certification in anatomic and pediatric pathology, and was working with us to be a trained forensic pathologist as well.
Is it fair to say that you and Dr. Marsden conducted the autopsy in conjunction with each other?
Yes, I mean, the way that generally works is the trainee is primarily doing the exam itself, with essentially me standing there watching the whole time, and guiding and directing. Okay, you should probably do this. You should probably do this. Over the course of a year, our fellows become very adept at knowing what to do. This obviously was the first exhumation she'd been involved with, so I was a lot.
The future is right here. The biggest job creating projects India has ever seen. So big, the career politicians couldn't even understand them, so they attacked them.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yard or the internet. I'm so sorry. I hope you all forgive me. It could be my computer because don't have enough graphic card to do this. I don't know. I'm not smart. I don't know that much about StreamYard. So let's get back to it. I want to thank you all in the other countries that watches this. It might be bedtime for y'all, but you watch it later. Make sure you all hit the subscribe bell. God bless you all.
Maybe blue or
Judge,
purple.
I'm going to object at this point. It's become a bit of a narrative, and I've been patient, but
Sustained.
Dr. Christensen, when you talk about bruising, can you explain a little bit about what we see with bruises? I think you were talking about different colorations that we might see with those.
Yes. The colors basically don't necessarily start seeing colors like yellow and green and brown that are the result of hemoglobin pigment, blue or purple. You can't really tell when any of those are of a specific age or not. They might be recent, they might be older.
In conducting the autopsy on Tammy Daybell, did you and Dr. Marsden, in fact, reach a conclusion as to the cause and manner of death?
Yes.
What did you determine the cause of death to be?
found objection foundation.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes.
He performed the autopsy. So I think he's already testified that he performed the autopsy. So I'm asking what his results of that autopsy were.
And Judge, if I could respond.
Yeah, on second thought, I will overrule the objection. I'll allow him to make the response, and clearly it's grounds that may be gone into on cross, Mr. Pryor, but you can go ahead, Ms. Blake.
What did you determine death to be?
We ruled her cause of death to be asphyxia.
What did you determine her manner of death to be?
We determined her manner of death to be homicide.
And when you
We get enough oxygen.
can there be a number of causes or different means by which asphyxia can occur?
Yes,
Can you talk about some of those?
sure. You can have asphyxia can result from anything that occludes the smothering of any type, anything that blocks the mouth and nose could lead to asphyxia. Choking, anything that blocks the airway internally, or it's food or something stuffed in someone's mouth or whatever, maybe all of those things can lead to asphyxia. Asphyxia can also result from drowning. Drowning is technically a form of asphyxia. You can also have asphyxial deaths that result from chemical asphyxiants. Carbon monoxide is one of those. Cyanide is another that impair your body's ability to release oxygen to tissues, and so they don't get enough oxygen.
And you talk
People, I got questions. Why didn't the first autopsy show anything? That's something you all think about that. Why didn't the first autopsy look at, find bruises and stuff? When the undertaker picks you up like that, they pick him up, I guess with the sheet or the bag, you know, could the undertaker, the funeral home, could they grab a person's arm, this and that? If she was suffocated, like the coroner right there said, why didn't they find anything in the first autopsy? You know, think about it real hard, people. Did the first coroner screw up or what? Because they look for everything. They look at your blood, your heart, your throat. If you suffocated, there should be evidence somewhere on your lips or your nose. Or, you know, just think about it. I watch the medical examiner on TV. One is it Dr. G. She goes over in detail, even on the first autopsy. She wants to know how they die. You know, so that's my question to you all. Think about it. Don't rush to judgment. Why was there a screw up in the first autopsy? You know, think about it. They didn't find none of this stuff that he's talking about in the first autopsy. You know, I'm not a doctor, lawyer, policeman. I watch a whole lot of shows, so just think about it. Let's get back to it.
Talked a little bit about the process of an autopsy already. Any other obvious injuries that would have been the cause of her death?
The only that would be the cause of her death, no.
Can you walk us through how you ended up reaching your conclusion that this was the cause of death was asphyxiation?
Sure. So as I was just asked, we didn't find any traumatic injury that would explain her death. We also didn't find any natural disease that would explain her death. Her heart was completely normal. Her lungs were normal except for some fluid buildup in them. Her liver, kidneys, all of her organs were normal. So we did not identify an anatomic or pathologic explanation for her death. She did have the only real finding she had, apart from bruising on her arms and one bruise on her chest. And then when we get to that point, the essentially no findings that will explain the death directly, then there are a limited number of things that can explain a death in that context. One is asphyxia. Obviously, that's what we ruled it to be. And that can be, any number of things that, as I discussed, that can lead to asphyxia. But in this
Gotta be hard. Hello, Samantha. It seems like I'm having problems with my computer.
Do you know how old she was?
49 at the time of her death.
Sorry about that.
Do you recall reviewing some information provided by Chad Tammy having seizures?
I reviewed some records from the coroner, yes, that mentioned that he
Okay,
had said she had
people,
had.
I don't know what the problem is. You all got StreamYard. You probably got a better computer than me. This happens every morning. I don't know if it's Spectrum is causing the problems or what. You know, I'm asking you all for your help. Help me to understand it. I just can't understand it. I'm not computer smart. So let's keep trying it. It's going to get to the point that I'm going to, it's making me to the point I'm getting mad. Okay, he said tissues. Okay, wouldn't the first coroner take tissue samples, take some blood, and so on, and cut some of the liver out? Something either the first coroner screwed up, you know, that's something to think about, people. Let's get back to it. That's okay, Samantha. I'm thinking it's more of my computer. Okay, would the first coroner do that? You all ever watch Dr. G, the medical examiner? She does everything. Did this coroner screw up? The first coroner? Now it's giving me reasonable doubts. So that's only my opinion. Some of you out there as doctors, coroners, put in the comments. This, Samantha, this is Chad Daybell's case. He was accused of killing his wife and 2 kids, supposedly. I think it's day 14 or day 15. So, I've been watching it off and on, but since TB taught me how to share, but I'm thinking it's my computer, but I don't have $1,800 to buy me a new laptop to do that. You all saw the videos on the laptop. So I leave it up to you all out there to help me on that. You all smarter than me. Because that laptop I show you is a gaming computer. But let's get off of me. You all have watched Dr. G. She's a coroner. I forget what state she's from. She takes blood work, tissue samples, and so on, and save them for future use. And my question to you all has been watching court TV and other people's live stream. Did that coroner's office screw up, or did the state put pressure on this coroner to come up with something to convict him? Something's not right here. I've watched a whole lot of court cases. I watched Dr. G, the medical examiner, which you all probably watch her. Did this first coroner screw up? I don't think so. That's part of being a coroner. You take tissue samples, you take blood work, you take samples from the liver. Embalming fluid does destroy evidence. You know, so there's questions for reasonable doubt. Like I say, I'm not a lawyer, paralegal, doctor, or anything like it. But I don't want you to come to fast judgment. That's how come I'm putting my 2 cents in to maybe help you to make a good trial jury person. Listen to all the facts, but also use common sense. Okay, that may check StreamYard probably screwed up. Let me go back into StreamYard, see if my microphone got you. No. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? I can hear myself on the feedback. So
You might notify Jackson County, advise them there's no visible damage that they may want to inspect it.
If any information on during more contact criminal department.
thank you, Samantha.
Your son, 2020, 20. That crap. He doesn't know who's not calling him. We're using registered players who very important on the phone. If I did it very soon, please contact news station. Very good.
His name is Chad Daybell. Oh, bull crap. I just don't know. But I ain't got 18 gaming computers that got a better graphics card. You can't buy a graphics card for a laptop. So that's how come in the bottom I got my post office box. If you want to send me that computer, it's okay. okay, but I know you all can't afford it. That's what it seems like it is. Someday, like the other day, I done the Karen Reed. I done it. Somebody get me on sale. Probably no. So because computers has to have a good graphics card in it. It's not a computer. It probably cost me $200 or $300. Okay, is this better? So maybe from it. I don't know. I don't understand all this computer crap or microphone crap. I'm 70 plus years old, people. I got a computer. They people says I need a gaming computer with a good graphics card in it. Graphics cards for a laptop. Well, you can find them for desktops, but not laptops. You computer smart people. Is there something like that you can plug into your USB that act as a new graphics card. You know, I'm no computer smart people, but what I've found online, desktop, but people, I found out if you need a gaming computer. I've seen other people having the same problem I'm having. So I just can't make no sense out of it. I'm 70 plus years old. Nobody in my family, kids or grandkids, lives close enough that can help me out. So, is it breaking up now, Jonathan? People, I don't know what to do. I can't afford a new laptop with a better graphics card, better memory. Look at that video I done on a computer that 95% of your people says I need. I'm having problems. It might be the internet on my end. I don't know. You know, I just can't understand. Okay. Hey, I'm no computer person. I'm 70 plus years old on a fixed income, $800 to $900. A new computer is not in my budget. But some of you don't believe in God, but I've been praying to God that to help me out, maybe get that computer. It's in the video. You know, yeah, you can ship it to my post office box. You know, but people, I'm to a point, I'm trying to make a good YouTube channel where I can get my 1,000 subscribers, trying to get my 4,000 watch hours. But when you can't afford one of them new laptops, what they call a gaming computer, like I said, look at that video that I done. You all computer smart people out there. Maybe it could be a cheaper one with the same graphics card in it. And same memory. I don't know nothing about computers. I'm getting upset over this. My heart doctor says, Tom, don't get upset because you can have a heart attack or stroke. I don't want you all to feel sorry for me. I know you all are on the low income or can't afford it. That's okay. Can I make payments on one? No, I can't. Between $800 and $900 a month, which I get paid Friday. So, you know, you make your house payment, you pay your car in. I'm picking people's calling and, you know, oh, I'm, I'm a few years older than you there, Jonathan. You like me. Everybody lives on a nice if a new computer. I land a gaming, maybe you got grandkids out there, Mr. Cherry, that's smart on computers, phone. I'm when it comes to computers and cell phones, I am a dummy. You know, people if in there, I hate it. Yeah, maybe I have to buy a cat, cat 9, cat 10 cable, run it there to the router. It could be the Wi-Fi. I don't know. You know, I just can't understand this stuff. Well, Jonathan, if you remember back years ago on cable TV, they had a computer show. I think they call it Tech TV. Back there then, I had a Dell computer, desktop, with a big monitor and all that. I got watching that TV show. I changed the RAM in it, got a bigger hard drive and put in it, changed the graphics card, and it was kind of like a gaming computer. It's weird. Like now, you know, maybe I need to get me a cat 9, whatever the latest version is, at least maybe 50 feet. Then I need, since I only got 2 ports for that USB, I'm going to have to get me one that maybe got 3 where I can plug it in. That way I can, because I got my mouse wireless hooked up to one USB. Then I got my sound card in the other USB. But, us old people, well, the Wi-Fi came up a little bit on the signal. So I'm trying, people. I'm trying to figure all of this out. Like I said, I'm not smart enough. And back my microphone away a little bit. I don't like getting that close. Let's see if they came back. Oh, where's my mouse? There it is. Try to present this again. Let's see. So, cop picker. It has to be my computer. I see they still on break. Bug. To come back. So is. I just don't have the slightest idea.
You sorted with the jurors monitors. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, in attendance here for moving over to the other side of the courtroom. room, so continue with your direct, you may do so.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I had asked to publish, I believe states 295D. I'm going to change that to publish 295J. It's a previously admitted exhibit.
Okay, 295J, previously admitted, may be published.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Christensen, as part of your review
Could be.
of documents provided in this case, do you recall reviewing photos that were taken at the scene of Tammy's death?
I do.
And Judge,
It is.
thank you. Dr. Christensen, on that photo, can you see something coming out of Tammy's mouth?
Yes.
Can you describe what we're seeing there?
Yes. This is foam, essentially. It's what a manifestation of pulmonary edema. You can see running down the left side of her face what looks like blood. Pulmonary edema fluid, as it comes up, is edema fluid is just fluid that leaks into the air spaces when it normally should be contained in blood vessels. And as it leaks into the air spaces, normally there is protein and other things within those air spaces to help keep them open. And as the fluid gets in there, it mixes with that protein and creates this bubbly, frothy fluid, which can then.
We would like to think that nobody would harm a young girl.
Can there be several causes of pulmonary edema, or what ultimately causes that, or is it a result from?
Yes, pulmonary edema, again, I think I said previously, is a non-specific finding that can result from, see it in asphyxial cases. We see.
Okay, people. I know you might say it's the Wi-Fi. Okay. You all know when you're running a cat cable, it's not a USB type cable on one end. They both the same. But they ain't got no place to plug anything like it into my laptop. Unless they make a cat cable with a HDMI on it, because that's the only thing I got left. You know, like I said, I told you I don't know nothing about computers.
See it in drowning cases. We see it in the setting of heart failure. We see it in the setting of drug intoxications. Those are pulmonary edema to manifest in this way, pneumonias and other things.
Did the presence of the pulmonary edema also play into your findings in this matter?
Yes.
And we've talked about Utah being a medical examiner system. So you yourself or another medical or forensic pathologist will respond out to a death scene in Utah, generally speaking?
In cases where the pathologist will respond to scenes where there is a homicide or suspected homicide at the scene, or our other investigators at the scene.
Do you know in Utah if someone responds out on unattended deaths?
Yes.
And is that generally someone from your office, whether an investigator or otherwise?
Yes, it's one of our investigators in most cases.
If you had seen the pulmonary edema, is this a case in which you would have had an autopsy performed?
Given the amount of information that was provided at the scene, what was relayed to me as what was shared at the scene, there's not an adequate explanation or sufficient medical history to explain her death at her age in a sudden and unexpected way without doing an autopsy examination.
I think we've gone over this a little bit, but when you did the intern, was there anything out of the ordinary in relation to Tammy's organs?
No,
Was there anything,
except for her lungs. Sorry.
and can you explain what was out of the ordinary with her lungs?
Her lungs were a little bit on the heavy side, heavier than would normally be expected, and had fluid in them. There were also changes related to her prior embalming.
Had you conducted other autopsies where pulmonary edema was present?
Yes,
Is pulmonary edema by itself actually a cause of death?
it's not.
Death?
Yes, it certainly could be. So if someone has pulmonary edema because they drown, drowning would be that. If they have pulmonary edema because they have heart failure, because they've had multiple heart attacks, then the underlying cause of their heart attacks would be their cause of death. But all of those kinds of things, anything, lots of different things can result in pulmonary edema.
And is pulmonary edema generally a manifestation or finding associated with asphyxiation being the cause of death?
It certainly can be, yes.
And we've talked a little bit as well about your review of the external part of Tammy's body. Do you recall that?
Yes,
And you'd referenced the only external injuries you had seen were some bruises.
that's correct.
And Your Honor, I have what's been marked as State's Exhibit 179. If I can have counsel handed a copy, and I have a courtesy copy for Your Honor, and then I would ask that the witness be handed a copy.
Very well.
And Your Honor, this exhibit is some blank diagrams. My intent is to have it handed to the witness and have him add some markings to it.
Very well.
May I have the witness handed a pen?
Thank you.
The exhibit's not yet admitted, Ms. Blake. And I understand, because if it's going to be altered, just think of when that would take place if you're offering it.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Christensen, would you mark on that diagram where the bruising was located on Tammy Daybell's body?
Yes.
Their doctrine and their first coroner's report, I believe.
Okay.
Thank you. And have you marked those based on your recollection of where you observed those injuries during the autopsy?
Yes.
And Your Honor, I would move for the admission of State's Exhibit 179.
All right. The exhibit now with the markings, I think it would be appropriate for defense counsel to see what the exhibit now looks like before I ask if there's any objection. All right, Mr. Bailiff, if you'd please submit that exhibit for reference to Mr. Pryor.
I object. It's alternating the first coroner's report. I think this is illegal. I disagree with this. I didn't the first corner see those bruises. No, I don't like this. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think it's right. There should be another report. Can't they introduce that one? Why they got to mess?
To Exhibit 179 being.
If it's being offered for demonstrative purposes, Judge, I don't have an objection.
Okay, Exhibit 179 will be admitted as a demonstrative exhibit. Ms. Blake, you may inquire.
And Your Honor, I would ask permission to publish.
You may publish.
I would object to it. It's alternating the first coroner's report. I disagree with it.
And Dr. Christensen, you can see on this exhibit, there's an R and an L that's been written in. Would you indicate what those represent?
Yes, those simply represent the right and left sides of the body. And at the bottom, I also indicated which was the front and which was the back, although that's fairly obvious.
And then it appears that there have been several dots or markings added. Could you explain what those represent?
Yes, they are not to scale, but they are representations of the locations where we identified bruises.
And on the front, there appear to be 6 dots. Is that correct?
Yes,
And then on the back of the body, 4 dots.
that's correct.
Okay, people, think about it. You heard me mention. Why didn't the first coroner note this in the same picture? You know, ask yourself that. You know, that's something to think about. You know, did the embalming fluid have something to do? Like I say, I'm not a doctor. I don't specialize in that field. But my dad and mom always taught me use common sense. There's something wrong with this picture. You know, I know there's people smarter than me. I think they put in a shaft to them. You know, a coroner goes over from head to foot, does blood work, look for poisons, cause of death. You know, a good coroner does it. Did the first coroner screw up? I would say no. Something's wrong here. That's only my opinion. You people have been doing court cases or maybe work in a coroner's office. I like to have your opinions on this because something don't sound right to me because I watched Dr. G, the medical examiner. She wants to know how they died. She notes everything. If you watch her TV show, videos about Dr. G. I tell you something here, Jonathan. Here in Indiana, to run for the coroner, you're an undertaker. You're an undertaker. You know, like Kentucky. You know, that's true. In some places, a sheriff is a coroner. But I know in Kentucky, which is south of me, Louisville, Kentucky is about 18 to 20 miles south. By the time you get off the country roads and get to the interstate, it's about 25 miles or more to Louisville, Kentucky. In the state of Kentucky, you have to be a doctor, a specialized in that field. Anytime somebody dies here in Indiana, they send them over to Louisville to do an autopsy. If you die at home, say you have cancer, you die at home, your people there's natural causes. How do you know if that's the truth? They could have been overdose on pain medicine, like I know a few of them. And I had a good friend of mine. I used to work in the cemetery from the time I was 12 until about 93, off and on. And this woman always cried. She lost her daughter for a drug overdose, and it was murder in my book and her. I agree with her because where they was partying at, there was some VIPs there, and one of the person there, the dad was the mayor, and so on. Then her son supposedly died of a gunshot wound. They said accidentally, but she showed me a picture of the gun. I know how tall that person was, and supposedly put it down by his feet and pulled the trigger. It's impossible. I've been around a long time. I've been on scenes where people been suicide, this and that. I got too many questions on this case. I know there's doctors out there, other coroners who are doctors, not funeral home directors. You know, like Dr. G. I like to have her input on it. You know, if you all ever watch Dr. G, the coroner, she goes into detail to find out why that person died. She takes tissue samples, this and that, blood work. You know, something's wrong here. It's only my opinion. You know, why do they find bruises, months or years later whenever they resume her body? You know, some people bruise real easy. Just like you take your finger and touch somebody's arm, they get a bruise just like that. So, I just don't understand. There's too many questions that's not answered. I hope he has a good lawyer because something's not right here. It's only my opinion. I've been in court to watch jury trials. I know how a prosecutor works. I know how a police officer works. I know how all the things. But something is wrong here. I don't know what it is, but something's not right. To me, that gives me reasonable doubt. That's questions when the jury go back and talk about it. You know, jury people is smart, but what I've seen so far, I got my reasonable doubts. The prosecutor has not convinced me. I think either the first coroner screwed up or something's not right here. Let's get back to it. You all make your judgment.
And you've already indicated they're not to scale, but can you talk about and put into the record where
And lateral right biceps, one on the anterior right forearm, one over the anterior portion of the left biceps, two over the right triceps area on the back of the upper arm, and two on the back of the right forearm.
lower head or
People, it got to be the Wi-Fi. But it worked the other day when I done the Karen Reed story. It done it for about a minute, and it didn't do no more. Um,
and did you in fact take photos of the bruises that were observed during the autopsy?
Yes.
Lay so close to
You
the edge
talked
of the
before
bed.
about the difficulty in determining the age of a bruise by simply looking at it. Is there something else has occurred?
Yes. As I mentioned, just the visual appearance doesn't necessarily indicate to us how old a bruise is, but we can at least attempt to narrow that down somewhat by looking at the tissue in the bruise under the microscope. Blunt injuries, although certainly